Villarreal, a club esteemed in a rich history with plenty of footballing stars from the past, present and future, including that man Giuseppe Rossi, known as a legend by many in the last couple of years. Diego Forlan, a name that needs no further introduction, and also the most recent of the legends, Santi Cazorla. It really has provided plenty of incredible names over the last couple of years, and now there's some new names to go onto that list, including the likes of Paco Alcacer and one of their new recent top scorers, Gerard Moreno. But things are going a little bit bad right now at Villarreal, and somebody's going to have to take charge and get in there and really help this club to get back to their very best. Is it going to be me? We'll have to find out. Hello and welcome to a brand new series on the channel. That's right, we have some Football Manager 2021 content for you, and well, it is in beta form of course, so there could be a few glitches and things like that throughout this save, but over the next couple of weeks we're going to be doing this save with Villarreal. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the series, and if you do, of course, leave a like and subscription as always, because we will continue this series on if it goes well on the channel. But here we are the manager of Villarreal, and this is going to be a very interesting project indeed, because as you can see on your screen, Gary Anderson has taken charge. That's right, if you're a bit of a Darting fan, the Flying Scotsman has taken charge. Now I've used this picture of Gary Anderson. Of course, you'll know that you can use the 3D editor in game to try and get your manager to look as suave and as cool as possible. And let me take myself off the screen, because there is Gary Anderson in 3D form. I mean, he's looking absolutely delighted to be in charge of Villarreal, and let's hope that there's a smile on his face for quite some time. But yes, we are going to be taking charge of Villarreal. The question is, are we going to be able to put this club in a good, respectable European finish, or are we going to be fighting for survival? Should we find out? Let's get into it. So the first key thing, of course, when going into any save is making sure you have an understanding of what the club expects of you. And Gary Anderson has a lot expected of him in this season. As you can see, first season that we're going to be taking charge of the club, they expect a semi-final finish in the Spanish Cup, which is fairly respectable, of course, with some of the bigger teams in the competition. They want us to finish in the top half of the table, which isn't too bad, to be fair. I did expect maybe to be getting towards that top 6 spot. And then, as you can see, in the Europa League, or the Euro Cup as it's called on this game, of course, a quarter-final finish minimum. Of course, it all depends on what type of group we get in the Europa League, but you never know. And then, of course, another not necessarily desired kind of thing that they want, a prospectus, as you could call it, but they would like us to develop the best youth system in the country, which could be quite hard, but could be something we look into over the next seasons, of course. And then the season afterwards, they want us to qualify for the Euro Cup, if we're still in charge. But let's go and make the team, and let's go and meet the players. So the first thing to do in any save, of course, is to organise your squad and get everyone together, try and get them as a collective and see how you want to work the system. And I think the first thing we've done straight away is get the tactics sorted, and this is how I'm roughly wanting to work it in terms of the system right now, of course. If it doesn't work, then I guess we go back to the drawing board at some point. But you can see the bench on the right-hand side, you can see the starting team on the left-hand side. They've got a really stacked squad of Villarreal, lots of good players across the board in this save. Of course, you've got in the back line somebody like Pau Torres, who's a young centre-back, very good, very dynamic player, already wanted by Liverpool on this save, of course, so it could be tough to keep hold of him, especially with the lack of transfer budgets, which we haven't actually checked yet, so we'll find out in a moment's time. And then you've also got the likes of Gerard Moreno, who is an absolutely incredible striker on his day. He could be a really pivotal part of this save, trying to push us up the career, up the stages of the league. And then, of course, on the bench, just to top it off, we've got another really good player who could come on in Paco Alcacer, another great striker, of course, recently moved from Borussia Dortmund a few years ago. In fact, a few years ago, it was actually last year he moved, so we could use him at some point as well. But there's 2 positions that I'm looking at straight away. You could actually even say 3 positions I'm looking to improve, but 2 positions as of right now, which of course we'll check in a second to see how much money we've got. First position is this midfield spot where Iborra is playing now. You know, Parejo and Coquelin, 2 incredible midfielders, really good signings from Villarreal in real life, joined not too long ago from struggling Valencia, of course, but we're just lacking that extra midfielder, that little bit of extra, maybe defensive talent as like a box-to-box player or a ball-winning midfielder. Now, you know, Iborra, you look at his stats, he's actually really good right now, but of course, the underlying issue is that he's 32. He's not going to get younger, and his stats will start to go down. So you can see his mental stats and his technical stats are really good, but I'm looking to potentially bring in another younger ball-winning midfielder. Of course, we've also got Manu Trigueros as well, who could come into the team. Really good stats across the board, more of a technical player than a defensive-minded player in game. Of course, he's only 2.5 star rated, which is a real shame, and he's 28, so we could look to move him on as well. And then the last position I want to look forward and try and get a new player in is that left wing spot, because when you actually look at the left wing spot right now, Chukwueze is more dominantly a right winger. Kubo, as you can see on the bench, doesn't actually play as a winger. He plays more of a cam. So what I'm trying to do right now is I've gone into the training section. Where is it? There we go. I've gone into the training section. I'm trying to train him up to become a left winger over time. So then, of course, we've got that extra backup player we can bring into the team. But as of right now, we've got Moy Gomez playing there. Once again, another player who predominantly plays as a midfielder slash a cam. But he can play as a left winger for now. So that's the next position that I kind of want to look to improve. And then if at a push we could improve it, I'd love to improve the left back position, because no offence to Alberto Moreno, he looks fairly good in game, to be honest, but concentration of a 10, anticipation of a 12, we know what he was like at Liverpool, could be a risky player to have in the side. But before I finish this little section of the video, the question is, how much money have we got to spend? Of course, do put your potential signings you would like to see in the chat, and hopefully we can get a few in over the next few weeks. But we've got a total of 13.7 million to spend. Now, in fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put 12 million to spend, so we've got a little bit more wage budget. So we've got a little bit of cash to spend. The question is, who are we going to sign? Do put in the chat, and we'll see if we can bring a few of your players in. So something that I do in my saves is that I tend to delegate the friendly matches to my assistant manager, purely because I can't be bothered to sit there for 2 or 3 hours going through friendly games. However, for this save, what I'm going to do for now is I'm not going to delegate it, because we haven't actually looked at our schedule. So let's have a look now. And as you can see, something that is new to Football Manager 21 this year is that you can play against your second XI. So what it will do, of course, is put your first team in one lineup, your bench players and your reserves in a second lineup, and then you'll come up against each other. So what I'm going to do today in the first episode is we will play that friendly out, and then afterwards I'll delegate the other friendlies against Barandes and Skihon to the assistant manager, so we can just get straight to the league in a few, kind of probably in the next episode, I would, fingers crossed, hope. And then as you can see as well, we've got the games across the beginning of the season. It's quite a decent run, to be honest with you. Only 1 or 2 teams, I would say, that are going to be tricky to play in that first 6 games. One of them, of course, is Atletico Madrid, which they always say it's best to play some of the biggest teams first. And then another team, of course, Real Hispales, who, of course, are called Real Betis in real life. I will get the updated badge packs, of course, when the game does come out. But then after that, we play Valladolid twice, which I don't know whether that's a mistake or not. I didn't think you'd play 2 teams in a very quick period of time, but apparently we are. And then we've got the likes of Huesca and Elche. So very good run to start the season. The question is, can we get the points on the board, and can we get the signings in time? Of course, the window on this, I believe, shuts in October, so we've got plenty of time to make transfers. So just a moment ago, Gary Anderson met the players for the first time, talked them through, of course, what he would like to see this season. Of course, I outlined the fact that we wanted to finish in the top half of La Liga and try and go on a decent run in the Euro Cup, and everybody liked it. And of course, they've got a few options now on the table, and the next thing Gary Anderson is going to do is he's going to meet the media, and I think this is a big opportunity for Gary Anderson to really prove himself in why he deserves this position as the Villarreal manager. So let's go and find out what he has to say. And of course, as I said before, they've changed it up now with press conferences. You now have a lot of options on the table in terms of what you would like to do, in terms of the questions and the answers you'd like to put. So, Gabriel Cabrera says, what does it feel like to be the brand new Villarreal manager, Gary Anderson? Well, I'll tell you what, it's certainly a difference from playing darts, isn't it? As Gary Anderson knows, but he thinks that he's managing a club like Villarreal. He's going to relish the opportunity, which is great to hear. Of course, the board will be loving that right now. Adonai said, you stand here today unveiled as the new Villarreal manager. As a big fan of the club, surely this must be a dream come true. And, well, Gary Anderson's dreamt this moment for years. He's always wanted to be the Villarreal manager, so he's going to say that indeed. And then Adonai's asked another question. He says, many people think that Villarreal's wage budget is too small for you to bring the high-quality players needed to improve the team. Are you going to approach your managing director to ask for an increase in the wage budget? I think I'm not going to discuss that right now. I think that's quite a personal question indeed. I mean, the press conference atmosphere has gone neutral after saying I wouldn't talk about finances. That's like asking someone for their age. I don't know why you do it. You wouldn't ask someone straight away, would you? Vukasin has said, you've taken the step to football despite only being 20 years old. Well, I might have fucked up there because Gary Anderson is older than 20, but I'm 20, so I guess I'll pretend I'm Gary Anderson. Critics have suggested that you will struggle to command respect in a dressing room that contains players older than you. What do you have to say to that? Well, I mean, Gary Anderson could say he doesn't think age is important, which is probably the wrong way to go. I mean, he's going to say it's a valid point. You know, let's get the media on our side. I think that's the most important thing to do at this stage. And then Adonai, he's running the show today. It's his third question already. He needs to calm down. The public will want to hear an answer. Adonai, eat shit. Go away. Gabriel says, are you happy with the squad you've inherited? Of course I am, or else I wouldn't sign. God, what a stupid question. And then Gabriel's asked, have you met the players yet? And what is the mood in the camp? Well, obviously, optimism right now. And then Lorenzo has asked, would you like to say anything to the Villarreal fans? Yep. One of the best fan bases in the world. They're just as important to this club as anyone else. We love to see it. And then, of course, Lorenzo asking, where can this club go under your leadership? Is a marathon, not a sprint? Nah, we'll let him high, of course. That's what we want to do. Adonai, again, fourth question now. What's your approach on the training ground? Well, at least this is a proper question this time from Adonai. There has to be a balance. Make sure the players that are okay. And then Vukstin's asked, is Kubo a player that we're going to build around? I'm not going to say yes to that because he's not in the starting lineup, he's on the bench for now. And then, of course, one more question. Are we going to keep him as captain? Yes, he is indeed. Adonai's back again. Yes, have that question. You're taking in charge when it is widely expected Pau Torres will leave the club. I will keep Pau Torres here. And am I, my press officer, has said that's it for today. Thank you very much, boys. As you can see, no relationship right now with the press, as you would expect. But, of course, we got our questions in, and that's Gary Anderson online with the media. Good start for him. So here we are. This is it. First match of the first match of the season. And we are here at the Villarreal Stadium, or the training ground, I would assume it would be, for Villarreal to take on their second XI. Of course, we're taking charge of both sides, and here they are coming out onto the pitch, of course. A very exciting moment as the Villarreal manager. Very excited to see how they do. And here we go. This is it. The game is underway. I'm very, very excited to see here what happens. Now, I'm going to, for this save, put both teams on positive and kind of outline how I want to work the system. So I tend to go with a lower standard. But what I'll do for this team is I will put them on positive and leave them at a higher standard and see who works best. But in terms of making changes and things like that, I'm not really too fussed at this stage in terms of the actual match itself because it's between the two teams. But so far, no opportunities in this game, and fingers crossed, no lag as well. But first chance of the game, he's going to go into the box, and don't know why it's come up with the induction here. What I'm going to do for a second is pause it because that is way too quick on the highlights. I can't even see what's going on there. Let's slow it down slightly. There we go. So we have a good chance here for Pedraza to come forward on that left wing. What can you do, the Spaniard? Still goes into the box, and it's going to be a penalty, which Paco Alcacer is going to take for the second team. First goal of the save, potentially. He puts it into the back of the net, of course. It's 1-0 to the second XI. And it's Paco Alcacer, the Spanish forward who I've put on the bench right now with the first goal of this save. And it's a very good penalty indeed into that bottom right-hand corner. And it's 1-0 to the second XI. And, well, you look at the second XI right now, there's still a few decent players in that team, of course. Trigueros and Alcacer probably being the two main stars. Juan Foyth and Rulli as well. Two very good players indeed. But you can see right now, in terms of the second XI, how they've got an XG of 1.24. Of course, XG is something new into the game, and well, they've pretty much dominated this game so far. So what I'm going to do now is going to go into the second half, and I'm going to change it up once again here. So this time, these boys will go on balanced, and the first team will go on positive. So we'll flip it round just to see here how it works in game, and see whether the tactic is to go a bit more positive with a 4-3-3 formation. So here we go, second half has begun, could be a very quick game indeed, and we've got a quick highlight here. Asensio with a ball up, good long ball there, although it isn't going to get to the Paco Alcacer up top. Chukwueze lays it off to Mario Gaspar on the right wing, good chance here for the first team to come forward. Lays the ball off into Vicente Iborra, now to Dani Parejo. It's a lovely ball, and a great save there from Geronimo Rulli in goal. And they are going to get a corner here, which Moy Gomez is going to whip it to the box. And it's going to go out of play for a goal kick. So nice early chance there for the first team to get an opportunity. And you can see, as I said earlier, XG is now in the game. Something that they haven't brought in for a couple of years now. And apparently it's saying here about making a substitution. I might have clicked on an accident. There we go. So we go back to it once again. But, I clicked it again. My bad. There we go. We've got a chance here. No, we haven't. It's just a lie. So we've got half an hour left. Not really seen much of that first team, to be honest, which is quite worrying because they're supposed to be the first team players, although they've got a chance here. Free kick, which Ruben Pena is going to get talked to from the ref. Parejo's going to loft a ball into the box, and it's cleared away by Moy Gomez. So really poor there from the Spanish midfielder. And I'm not really going to make any substitutions here as well, because I can't be bothered, because most of the subs are playing on the pitch anyway. But here comes the first team, Parejo, with a lofted ball to Chukwueze on the right. He's going to lay a ball towards Gerard Moreno and Funes Mori with a terrible clearance away. Jesus Christ, that's awful. And Moy Gomez is going to whip the corner in here. It's going to get cleared away, and Parejo gets the ball back. Lofted into the box towards Gerard Moreno, and it doesn't get to him in the end. But you can say, in this second half, the first team has looked a little bit better than the second team. And they've got another chance now. It's Chukwueze coming forward here. Going to lay the ball towards Moy Gomez, who takes the shot on and just misses the left-hand side of the post. So another good chance indeed there. And we've got 18 minutes left for the first team to get back into the game. And they've got a set piece here. Parejo lost the ball into the box, and Ronaldo put it in the back of the net, but it's going to be disallowed, and that is an offside indeed. And well, it doesn't really matter at this stage whether it's going to be classed as an offside or not, because it's only a friendly game, isn't it? So another chance here for the first team. Moy Gomez lays the ball off to Alberto Moreno, who probably doesn't have much longer left at the club unless he can do something good in this game. Here's Coquelin into Iborra. Lovely ball to Chukwueze, and it's a simple save for Rulli at his right-hand side of the post. And 10 minutes left here. XG is improved for the first team. For the second team, it hasn't really gone up at all. In fact, I don't really think they've had a chance in the second half as we get towards the final 6 minutes. And, well, you can see they've got a corner here, the first team. Moy Gomez lays it off towards Gerard Moreno. We can't get the touch. It's lofted back into the box again. And, oh, he's so unlucky first team because it's another disallowed goal. Chukwueze this time, who gets his name onto the score sheet, but it won't count. Just offside. And, well, it doesn't look like it's going to be the first team's day. Although they've got another chance here. Gaspar lays the ball into the box towards Moy Gomez. Not a good clearance away, meaning that the first team get the ball back. It's Parejo into Moy Gomez. Now to Alberto Moreno. And well, that isn't going to come to anything. I think Moreno is offside there. And 1 minute left on the clock. That is that. The second team win. And well, it wasn't really a convincing performance from the second team. They were really good in the first half. But the second half there, certainly a decent performance from both teams. You know, the first team lost and the second team did win. But the important thing is they had plenty of chances. And that is our first game of the save done. As I said before now, I'm going to leave the friendlies to the assistant manager so we can get straight into the beginning of the season. So that is going to be it for the first episode of the Villarreal save. Do tell me in the chat, of course, one, the signings that you would like to make. Remember, I'm looking to try and get a midfielder and a left winger, of course, if we can with that £13 million budget. And two as well, do tell me if the 3D engine looks alright in game. If not, unfortunately we'll go to the 2D, but I think it should be okay. And well, one more thing before we go. Gary Anderson hasn't started life well in terms of making good impressions to the side, because apparently Francis Coquelin said Gary Anderson kept the team locked in the dressing room after their 1-0 defeat to the second XI. Apparently Gary Anderson was incredibly furious with the team's performance. Could be a very nervy start indeed, but as for now, if you have enjoyed the first episode of the series, do leave a like and a subscription. As always, we'll be back with the second episode very, very shortly indeed, but as for now, have a great morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are, and we hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.